Heart and pride ran through the veins of Mexico's most legendary champions for more than half a century. Today, there are warriors in that south of the border carrying that same prideful blood that signifies their heritage and making their own legacy. Oscar Valdez looks to exceed the expectations of most boxing writers and overwrite his mythical story of facing his so-called Goliath in his biggest up-and-coming battle with the junior lightweight most dominant king in the Scorpion, Miguel Berchelt. Considering his reign, Berchelt looks to demonstrate why he is the established conqueror when he gets his chance to punctuate his authority on the much smaller opponent in Oscar Valdez and showcase his power and strength with fierce aggression. Valdez has displayed the heart and pride of his heritage, making himself a hungry, aggressive, come-forward warrior, blazing through the featherweight division and stamping his presence as a force on his way. As he made the climb to the 130-pound scale, and with a newly found trainer in Eddie Reynoso, becoming more of a fresh new counterpuncher, completely switched his style from an aggressive pressure come-forward combination puncher to a defensive boxer counterpuncher. Less aggression, less pressure. Will that regimen in working on this newly style, previously not too familiar with, while in the biggest fight of his life, prove worthy of success? Berchelt is a strong, big, accumulating power puncher who seems not to know how to put a cease to his arsenal. Can Berchelt break down and put a stop to Oscar's attempt to conquer? Can Valdez find the key? And will he try to outsmart and outbox the explosive and dominant WBC champion in Miguel Berchelt? Will they slug it out in a war most anticipate? We will find out February 20th. So welcome to the breakdown. Miguel Berchelt versus Oscar Valdez. Welcome everyone to the Fight Room. I am your host, Nice. If you're not a subscriber, make sure you do. For the latest boxing news, feedback, and entertainment, this should be a war, ladies and gentlemen. Considering their styles, this says everything of what type of matchup this should turn out to be. Two exciting fighters, potentially in their prime of their careers. Berchelt, who has the WBC junior lightweight title and has been proven a problem ever since he got that belt. Oscar, on the other hand, has had vicious bouts, one with Scott Quiggs where he got his jaw broken, and he showed a lot of heart and proved that he can stand and overcome anything and any obstacle inside that ring. Am I right? So, on the Blood, Sweat, and Tears episode from Top Rank, Berchelt versus Valdez, let me mention a few things and some quotes from both fighters. Berchelt stated, "Valdez is a great fighter. I respect him a lot, but no chance he's going to take away my belts. I am going to knock Oscar out. I am going to beat him in a big way." Valdez stated, "I am not scared of any fighter. I was born to fight." Also stated that Scott Quiggs was one of his toughest fights of his career. Said losing was not an option after the 5th round where Scott broke his jaw, of course, and he continued to fight on and slug it out in a war, winning by unanimous decision. So he conquered and overcame that fight, and he showed a lot of heart, a lot of determination. Also stated if he can go through the fight and slug it out all the way through and become victorious, he can go through anything pretty much. So he knows himself, he knows what he went through in that fight, and he believes that he can overcome anything now with that fight and having that experience, which is a good thing. Now he can have more faith in himself, honestly, to fight this monster in Berchelt. So we also know, of course, after the Scott Quiggs bout, he changed his trainer from Manny Robles to Eddie Reynoso, who has a good resume and fighters under his belt. We all know that. And let me say something. In an interview I caught with Manny Robles, I forgot where it was at, he stated he gave Oscar some advice on ways he can defeat Berchelt. Said doesn't want to take anything away from Eddie Reynoso, saying he's training to change Oscar. Oscar is Oscar. In other words, Oscar is an aggressive, come-forward fighter, and Eddie's trying to make him a boxer counterpuncher, as I've stated before previously plenty of times, and we all know that. We can see that in his style. Him fighting in the ring, he doesn't do what he normally would do with Manny Robles, which is being an aggressive fighter and coming forward. It kind of backfires in his new style. We understand that he's learning and he's going to keep getting better, honestly. I believe that. But for this fight, he's gonna have to bring the best of both worlds, honestly, to this fight. You know, using his old style of aggression, coming forward and pressuring, and also using his new regimen with Eddie Reynoso in boxing and using the ring and trying to be a counterpuncher. You know, he's gonna have to bring both to the table in order to try to conquer Berchelt. Now, Berchelt, we know, he's a dangerous 130-pounder. He is strong, aggressive, offensive fighter, good power and combination puncher, has a great left hook, body shot, good right hand and inside arsenal. You know, not too great of a defense. Not to lie to you guys, he doesn't have a great defense. You know, when he goes and accumulates punches against his opponent, he leaves himself vulnerable for the counter punches. And, you know, we've seen him take a couple of shots, good shots, and, you know, he overcame those. You know, being that he lost by knockout a couple years ago and, you know, bounced back from that and has been dominant ever since. And one of the most avoided fighters in the 130-pound division. For sure. You know, why? Dangerous fighter, heavy arsenal, heavy hands like Alberto Duran, one of the best, if not the best lightweight ever. A volume puncher, throws with bad intentions. 20 of his KOs came under 3 rounds. So, you know, he packs power, he's aggressive, he's a come forward fighter, heavy arsenal, heavy artillery, doesn't stop throwing. So Berchelt game is his game. He still has the same game. Now Valdez, the switch up, you know, what is he going to bring in this fight? What plan? Is Eddie Reynoso going to stick to the plan no matter what? If Eddie Reynoso tells him, listen, we're going to box and we're just going to box all the way through, will that be a success for Valdez? Or would he have to put that pressure and the aggression come towards this fight against Berchelt? I believe so. He will not be able just to box Berchelt. Berchelt comes too much. He brings too much arsenal, too much pressure. He's going to have to fight the fight. Honestly, Berchelt is going to make him fight his fight. He's going to make him fight his fight. Ladies and gentlemen, believe what I say, and Oscar is going to have no choice but to fight Berchelt's fight. Now, with the regimen that Eddie Reynoso has been teaching him, will it be a success to this fight? Will he overcome? My conclusion, regardless if Valdez comes in with this newly found style of being a defensive and a counterpuncher, ultimately, Berchelt will bring the fight to Valdez, potentially make Oscar fight Berchelt's fight. Valdez will have no choice but to bring back his old style and become aggressive and bring pressure to Berchelt. A fighter that does not fold during exchanges, hard fighter to push back and muscle him. And that is with natural 130-pound fighters. Oscar is not an exception. The smaller guy looking to come in and dethrone the toughest 130-pounder in quite some time, in my opinion. An accumulating puncher with power, looks to come away looking impressive and retain his title. I believe Berchelt has the tools to stay champion in this bout. I salute Valdez for his heart and will to take on such a much stronger, bigger, and harder puncher in Miguel Berchelt, who looks to come away looking impressive and make a certified statement on February 20th, ladies and gentlemen. I am not counting Oscar out. Absolutely a good fighter, a better fighter than a boxer. Yes, he can box, but he is not quite there yet. You know, he's an old school brawler, has that type of style, and he needs to bring that to this fight to see if he can overcome Berchelt. Vicious fight, good fight. It should be one for the ages if Berchelt makes Oscar fight his fight, which he will, I believe. My conclusion, Berchelt will overcome Valdez in the later rounds. Just too much arsenal, too much pressure, big, strong. That's my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. Berchelt for the win. Y'all already know I am your host. Nice, like, comment, subscribe. Most of all, don't forget to share the fight room.